This week on New to You, What Happened? Part 1, Johnny Depp. Hey everybody, welcome to the New to You show. I'm one of your hosts, John Holt. With me this week is
Keith Vincent, one of your other hosts.
And Julian Cage.
And joining us from season 1,
Parker.
All right.
Back for more.
I'm like Madonna or Prince.
So Parker, we had you on back on the last episode of season 1, which was Musicians on Musicians. Yeah? We talked about your band.
Yeah, we had a lot of chips.
Yeah.
I think you could even hear some of the munching of the chips in the...
Did you re-listen to your episode in preparation?
No, not recently. I'm remembering this from like right when it first dropped.
So it's Musicians on Musicians with chips.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Seinfeld show.
Yeah. Eating chips with musicians in apartments.
And microphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your band's still going strong?
No.
What?
Well, I mean,
what
we're
happened?
we're technically still together, although we've like definitely taken we slowed the roll.
Mm-mm.
We're all very busy with other projects.
Side projects.
Although it sometimes
They're
this feels
becoming
like
more
this
of
has
the-
become
yeah.
the side project in some ways to other things.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple songs that I hope to put out soon, but
Cool. And you've been doing some like covers and the occasional like pop-up as a band, right?
us,
Yeah.
yeah, we've done shows here and there.
But when did you release your last record? It wasn't. It
A
feels
year
like
ago.
It was already a year ago.
Over a year ago.
Time flies. I feel
Yeah.
like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, I feel like that's yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like it was a really long time ago. I guess I kind of feel more like it was a year ago. Wow, and we haven't done that much in the interim. Like that's kind of shame on us.
But considering it's not your full-time job being in a
Yes.
band,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
And you've been, I mean, I know because I see you here late hours at the office, but you've been like helping other people with their projects.
That's true.
And kind of cutting your teeth producing and doing that kind of stuff.
That's true. He's right. He speaks the truth.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, that's the only way you get better.
Are your teeth nice and sharp now? You've been cutting on
I
them?
did recently go to the dentist and got cleaned.
Nice.
Good.
Me too.
Shout out to Les.
Not me.
She's never going to hear this podcast, so it'll be really funny if for some reason she did.
We do have a very strong dentist listenership.
Yeah, they usually play this podcast in dentist offices.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Because
yeah.
that way people can be like, well, getting my teeth drilled isn't so bad.
Or they're like, count
me out of this
backwards from
waiting
10
room.
and they turn on the episode and it slowly sinks them into oblivion.
They don't need laughing gas
That's
because
right.
we're that hilarious.
And we do cause brain damage, much like nitrous oxide. All right, so our topic this week is a new one. What happened? We'll kind of let everybody explain their interpretation of that. But first on deck is Jules's What Happened pick.
Mm-hmm.
Jules, why don't you take it away?
Avon calling. Ooh, this is some huge house, isn't it? Hello? Why are you hiding back there? You don't have to hide from me. I'm as harmless as cherry pie. Those are your hands. Those are your hands.
All right. So my pick is Johnny Depp. I guess I don't have to go into too much detail because I think most people know who Johnny Depp is because he's one of the biggest movie stars ever, which kind of, and he's still, I think, very successful, which makes the fact that I made him my pick a little odd, I suppose. But I think he was one of those rare, actors that was, he started out as a teen heartthrob on 21 Jump Street, back in, was that late 80s? But he's somebody who always chafed, from the very beginning, chafed against that image and chafed against celebrity and really worked hard to kind of, stay grounded and focus on the work. And as soon as he got out of his contract from 21 Jump Street, he just started making a lot of, risky and diverse picks and doing a lot of interesting movies. And then I feel like over the years, he's just kind of I feel like he's developed a shtick, is what I would call it, to where his roles like are all like somewhat unique, but they're all kind of very weird in a similar way, and he wears a lot of makeup and blah blah blah. So it's kind of that where I'm like kind
He's
of
like
wondering-
typecast.
Yeah, and on
Yeah, but he's not typecast as a specific type. He's typecast as the guy who's going to kind of become this cartoonish type of character.
maybe, but the weird thing is, it's almost like I don't know if maybe now people are really going to him for that, but at first it was just people were like, oh, he's a big movie star. People like him. Let's cast him in our movie. And then he would be like, here's what I want to do with this role. And they were like, okay. And this is what happened with, sorry.
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yes, thank you. With the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. On the first one, he just he got on board, and I think they kind of brought him in because he was a pretty face. And, it was,
Right.
it was a fairly big budget summer blockbuster. They weren't looking to
And he was
break
of
new
the
ground.
sort of main cast. He was one of the older of the heroes.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Well, also, he was
wasn't
the
supposed
biggest star in it, I
think-
think.
I
I mean,
think he wa-
Orlando Bloom was not big at the
He
time.
was a
Keira
rising
Knightley
star.
wasn't.
They were rising stars.
Yeah, exactly.
He was already
established.
Legolas, but
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. But I think, and he did take a big risk and had to really he basically brought on this weird Keith Richards thing, which took kind of a boring movie and kind of added this weird element to it that made it kind of fun and interesting and kind of propelled that movie into I think
Hold
something
on a
bigger.
second.
I think-
Boring
am I-
movie. It's got sword fights
Well,
in
no,
it.
I don't mean boring in
Pirate
that.
zombie guys.
I'm not
ghost
saying-
monkey. How is that boring?
Okay, not boring, but not
I'm just teasing.
not
Go
a.
ahead.
It's not a. Unique,
yeah, I'm just
not a
teasing.
unique film.
It's kind of funny though, because he basically is playing your Disney sidekick character.
Yes.
Who's your comic relief a little. He's sort of
Yes.
he's the guy. He's the Eddie Murphy dragon, but. For the most part, those, at least in the animations, tend to sink the animated movies. And in this one, he may have rescued or breathed some sort of weirdness and life into
exactly
into this feature.
And I think because everybody else was playing it very straight, and because it was,
I mean, except Orlando Bloom.
you know what I mean. So he was playing it so he kind of, I think, added this oddball element that propelled it. But when he brought that character in, everyone else in the production was like, what is he doing? What is happening? And the executives were really freaked out, and there was a lot of pushback, and he was like, no, this is what I'm doing, or whatever. But it ended up working fabulously, and they ended up making a whole bunch. And I kind of feel like that movie was the turning point, because he was already a big star, and I think he's a heartthrob, basically. I think he has this charisma, and I think he's physically attractive, and women cannot resist him, right? And probably men too. I don't know.
Yep.
Just because of his looks, and
He's not a rock-jawed, barrel-chested guy.
he's the sensitive guy,
right, and he's got soft features.
He's a guy that would cry one single tear every day.
Right, exactly. Such as Crybaby, which was another one of his early roles.
You were saying that you think that was kind of a turning point.
Yeah, okay, it was a turning point.
I would argue.
Well,
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I would say that was the turning point, because that's when not only was he famous and a heartthrob and all that, but that propelled him into the big blockbuster movie zone. And after that, and then they made several more of these pirate movies, and then it sort of opened the door, I think, for also some of the other bigger Tim Burton things that I think I was almost going to talk about just the relationship with him and Tim Burton, because they have a symbiotic, they've worked together a lot, and I feel like
And he credits Tim Burton for helping him to get a movie career by casting him.
yeah, and I think
honestly,
Edward
there's a symbiosis there, like you're saying, Jules, where
They rose together.
Tim Burton getting to make the weird blockbuster movies,
Yeah.
where Johnny Depp can be the weird character in it in a
Yes.
blockbuster movie, is it's something that had to be proved and won to get to that level.
And I think that's why I chose Edward Scissorhands as the kind of before, because that was, I think, the first role that sent him on this trajectory, where he just got to hide himself under makeup and totally embody this very fantastical character, whereas before he was still kind of playing more standard roles.
Well, all right, so Yeah, I mean
before Edward Scissorhands.
Right. Well, he was.
Well, there weren't many roles
Benny
for him
and
before
June
Edward Scissorhands.
was a pretty big
Yeah.
he was very much like the Chaplin. He was
Yeah.
a silent, like physical character actor in Benny and June, and that was before Edward Scissorhands.
But-
I think.
Are you certain?
I think so.
Well,
let me
Gilbert
double check.
Grape came before that, and then
But I think
Arizona Dreaming was after. But he became more of a method actor too, so that like
Yeah.
by the time he's doing Ed Wood, he is creeping people out with his like weird positivity and this like creepy smile. He's not full of makeup, but he's putting on a mask and
Yeah.
maintaining it like a method actor would.
Well, that was the one that I was going to say I would consider his turning point was Ed Wood.
I mean, honestly, for Blockbuster, with that creep, like with the method actor stuff, every movie he's in he's not like he hasn't done a ton of like full on indie stuff. Like Edward Scissorhands was still, it wasn't like a
Arizona
indie-
Dream is a pretty
Arizona
fully,
Dream was
and so was Gilbert Grape. I feel like, and it's
Those were indie
definitely
movies.
the John Waters film,
But-
Crybaby.
yeah. But
But that one really like went stratospheric, like because it was global. I think part of it was just
what
that
about
times
Fear
had
and
changed.
Loathing?
But Fear and Loathing wasn't as big. It was still like, even though it did well and was well known, it was not like the blockbuster in the same sense.
Yeah, but
But I think that's the other thing too, because Ed Wood I think was the first role where he started to because he's done this a lot where he does a role where he totally imbues this very specific character, and then it takes him like years to shake it off, because people were saying that after I read a lot on this to prepare for this, and people were saying that he was doing Ed Wood for a long time after Ed Wood was over, like in ways that were like sometimes for other roles became a problem and things like that. And the same thing happened after Fear and Loathing. Like a lot of his other characters and like that voice crept in even in interviews and stuff, where he just still had like some effect of that of playing
Ed
Hunter S.
Wood.
Thompson.
Hunter S. Thompson. Thank you.
Interesting.
For a long time, like even in other characters, there was a hint of it and things like that.
I mean, there's aspects of it in the the composite he's been building over time
Yeah.
has a lot of these pieces in it.
Yes, yeah, and like you still see some of those weird little mannerisms and stuff, and I think once you get to the Lone Ranger, it's like it's almost, he feels like a parody of himself, where that role just feels a lot of like sounds and feels a lot like the other roles he's done before, but it's also like reached a point where I also feel like he's lost some of his perspective, like the fact that he took on that role, like playing a Native American in that way was, I think, like kind of questionable, and I feel like not the kind of thing he would have done earlier on in his life, maybe, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. And I don't know, I just felt like it was in bad taste, and just overall, like, I just didn't like the movie. I think it's overly long and just kind of a train wreck. There's also
There's a
actual
train wreck in
there's
it,
actual
yeah.
train wrecks in the film. And
But boy, that Army Hammer is one handsome son of a
I know,
gun.
and I feel bad because I feel like he just hasn't gotten the role that
I will
could
tell you
put him
a
over the
movie
top.
he's in a good role. The Guy Ritchie film, Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah,
he does
you
great in that
mentioned that.
movie.
You mentioned that, but I don't know. That one didn't. Again, it just it didn't
Yeah,
capture the imagination. I feel like the right role could.
He's digging.
Give him
He's
some.
digging his way back out. But don't worry about Army
hope so.
Hammer. He's all right.
He's handsome.
He's gonna be okay.
He's a handsome guy. But the other thing too, and this gets kind of like into the tabloidy stuff, so it's a little like iffy, but still, I think it may have some parallels. Like, so for a long time he was married to this French actress named Vanessa Paradis, and they had 2 kids together, and he lived in France, and I think that kind of like gave him like this stable home life and kind of like separated him from the Hollywood machine and all that. But then they ended up like a couple of years ago splitting, and I think he moved back to the States, or maybe he had moved back to the States for tax reasons or something, I forget. And then he started dating some other like super young actress, and I think they got
Amber
married.
Heard?
Yeah, Amber Heard. And then there was a lot of, like, it sounded like he was like doing too much, and there was like some abuse going on in that relationship, and also he just started looking bad physically, and when you saw him in interviews and stuff. And again, like once he's under all the layers of makeup or costume, you don't really notice, but Like, he's just like, he just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely started to get a little more like kind of like sallow and long in the face.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is just aging, but
Ain't nothing wrong with aging.
but when I saw him, I watched an interview with him following the release of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and he still looked like so young and baby-faced.
That was 10 years ago.
I know it was 10 years ago, but like in the 10 years previous, he had barely changed visibly, physically, and in the following 10 years, it was like, I mean, it was even more like 5 years, because even 5 years ago, he didn't look so bad. So I'm just wondering if there's maybe like alcohol, drug abuse.
Well, I wonder too. I mean, again, if he's a very method actor, and the characters he's taking on and like really absorbing himself in are your Hunter S. Thompsons and your like, even Ed Wood, like, junkies.
Maybe.
Then,
I mean, he's also like and he's
and like and Willy Wonka, like just.
Yeah, why don't we talk? Like, I don't even want to talk about how bad that movie was.
Oh, I could talk about that. Although I know not everybody agrees. But I mean, I think Willy Wonka and also all the Alice in Wonderland movies, I just don't like them. I think they're
garish.
Yeah, exactly. Garish is the right word.
Well,
and
I haven't
think
really
his
liked the Tim
performances-
Burton movie in a long while, though. I
Same
didn't
here.
see the Big Eyes movie. That might be good, but I didn't see that.
That looked at least
But like
more
Sweeney
grounded.
Todd was lame.
I thought Sweeney Todd was okay. Sweeney Todd was actually like kind of
Headless
the highlight.
Horseman, the Headless Horseman movie was.
Yeah, it was terrible.
You go back and watch that; it's real bad.
I think, I think, and overall,
Sleepy Hollow. Sorry.
I feel like his Johnny Depp's batting average was really good in the last like 10 years. There's really only a couple that I think are decent. I think Rango, which he just voiced. I actually was surprised by that film, animated film. I quite liked it.
Isn't that also Gore Vidal?
It's the same director as the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
I think Gore Vidal.
And it's also kind of a Western, but because it's all like weird animals.
And it's also sort of a Hunter S. Thompson-esque character.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And then the other one was the Sweeney Todd. I thought was fine. Like I didn't love it, but I liked it. But other than that, I pretty much haven't really liked anything else.
Sorry, Gore Verbinski.
Oh, that's the director's name?
Yeah, not Gore Vidal. I don't know. That's an other guy, I think.
Another gory name.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my take on Johnny Depp and what happened. And I don't have the full
None of us
answer
do.
to
That's
that
why
question.
that's why we're saying what happened. None of us know.
True, but I mean, maybe you've got your theories, but I think the fact there definitely seems to be a correlation. I mean, the fact that he had a really stable personal life and that went off the rails too. I'm just wondering if there's, drinking or drugs or something.
Well, wasn't there something
Money.
that came out?
Money. Well, but I don't
Wasn't
think
there
he's ever
something
been
that-
hurting. He's also got a band and stuff, too. He's always had movies and been in successful movies. I don't think he's had a lull.
Yeah,
No, I think-
and in his and then he had that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but 2 divorces in like a little while will really.
that's true.
cut-
And
cut
I know,
your
and I know
income.
the Amber Heard one cost him $7 million, which she donated to charity or something. But
Well, according
I mean,
to Google, she said she was going to, but she hasn't yet.
oh, ouch.
Uh huh.
Well, what I mean to say is less that he's strapped for cash,
And
and
more like
that
he
like
just-
you get a paycheck like Pirates of the Caribbean and a franchise like that, and maybe some of your discerning taste goes out the window a little
Yeah.
if people keep coming at you that kind of money.
Maybe,
I mean,
but-
I was almost going to talk.
But he had turned down a lot of those opportunities in the past.
I think
Yeah, but he hadn't seen that kind of money probably in the past. I mean, I'm sure.
I'm sure he had some of it dangled at him.
I think there's other aspects of encouragement that he got though that's similar. Like with the money also came like validation for the choices and the challenges he took.
Yeah.
So it's basically all the people who were afraid, like you're as you were like accounting with his role and like, is this going to come off? Were pleasantly surprised when it did come off, and he can give them a big "I told you so." And then the next time they go to make a movie, he gets more. He just can do whatever he wants.
Right, he's got more yes men.
Maybe it's
around.
more like a Lucas kind of situation where, Tim Burton may be in the same boat where he just kind of they want a Tim Burton movie. It's a certain kind of movie. He makes it in a certain way, and it just goes down that path. and he works with Johnny Depp, and they work together, and they work in a certain way, and they just do what they do.
And once you've proved yourself, and people respect you, and younger people coming up worship you, and all those things
I
are
don't
going to have
think
an
he
impact.
can. I'm going to defend him on a couple of points. Johnny Depp here for a little while. First off, I want to say I don't think he can't be blamed for anything in the anything he does with Tim Burton. I don't think he can be held responsible simply because he's got a trust there where he's just like, you know what, Tim Burton, he wants to put me in a movie, I'm going to do it. I feel like he feels like he owes him that.
But it's also a mutual trust, and I think they have fun working together.
Yeah.
But him playing Charlie in the Chocolate Factory the way he did, I think a lot of those were his ideas, like the whole Michael Jackson vibe and all that.
Yeah,
that was Johnny Depp's idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't comment to any of that because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
any of that, but I will say
Tim Burton's
that
down with it. That's why I'm saying it's a little bit of a mutual.
And I feel
thing.
like there's a trust level there where if it doesn't work out, I feel like, you know what, you can't hold Johnny Depp responsible for that because Sleepy Hollow was just a shitstorm. You can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Alice in Wonderland movies, they are successful. So
Yeah.
And I will just say it's just I'm not the audience for it.
Yeah.
And they are actually very visually interesting. And Johnny Depp's character is really well done. And another bit of defense I want to put out there is I want to say that I'm not a super big fan of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but that first movie was amazing when it came out. And his that Jack Sparrow character that he created is like screen history.
Oh,
I
it
think
gets
that
people laid left and right.
No,
like
no, I'm just saying.
No, really, it does. Like if you dress up like Jack Sparrow and like put it on, like at a convention.
Okay, there you go.
You're rolling.
Well, all I'm saying is like that character.
I don't even know if you're kidding or not.
I'm not kidding.
That character is great. Is like screen magnet. Like when he's on the screen, your eyes are glued to that character, and he created that.
It's like
and that's
he
a
read
great
the
thing.
game and was like, "Yeah, that's what I got to do."
Yeah.
He does sort of have that vibe.
No, just think
that game vibe.
Consider this. Consider
it's the
this
Keith Richards vibe.
for just a
No,
second.
no, come on.
Consider
Don't
this
lump
for
Keith
just
in
a
with
second.
this.
He gives him all the credit.
How many pirate movies are good or tolerable?
No.
Very, very few. And the fact that this was good and made enough money, and honestly, the first movie I think is great.
I'm gonna have to argue.
I think it was a fun movie, but it kind of like reminds me of. I mean, it's kind of the thing I have with Baz Luhrmann a little bit, where like the first time around, I'm like, wow, that's really different and crazy, and then after that, I'm like, okay, that's enough. That's enough of that.
I don't know. I think it's got a lot of rewatchability.
But are you saying that on like the first movie on rewatch?
No, like the first of the movies. Like,
Well,
Right,
yeah.
but-
Well,
but
you
Keith-
can't.
but Keith-
I'm
yeah,
not saying like
saying the first movie.
the
is
first movie.
yeah,
I'm not
it's a
saying
fun
that-
movie. It's,
yeah.
I don't think it's a masterpiece or anything.
Look,
but I think it's fun.
the expectations that people had for a Disney theme park themed
Yeah.
movie
Were very low.
Were excruciating. Like when I heard about that, even as a high schooler or whatever I was like, this is. I can't believe anyone thought this was a good idea ever.
Tomorrowland. Those are the two things I want to say about Johnny Depp. I think his career, he has chosen to work with every director that he wants to, and that's pretty good. Who did Donnie Brasco? Was that Scorsese? I don't know, but he worked with Scorsese on either that one or the one Black Mass, where he played Whitey Bulger. I think. Well, I'm probably wrong about that, but
I didn't.
But I mean, if you go down the list of all the great directors of our time, he has chosen to try to work with them, and
Right.
that's not what somebody who's in it for the paycheck does.
Right.
You know, you don't work for John Waters, if you're like trying to become, you know.
Just to confirm, Scorsese did not direct either of those movies. They both just seem like Scorsese movies.
But he was in some Scorsese movie. I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
I'll look it up.
Say hello to my little friends, and like his makeup flew off.
But I mean, if you do look at his list, you'll see that almost all the notables are there, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done great movies, and I have a lot of. I like him. I have a lot of respect for him. That's part of why I'm a little like sad to see,
Whatever's
I don't
happening.
like them, and
Yeah.
like I'm liking him less, and I'm liking his choices less, and I'm liking his films less. So
So
that's a bummer for me.
Yeah, for me, it was like, all right, a parallel, and when we were picking this choice, like the automatic parallel, the easy one is saying M. Night Shyamalan. Like, what happened to this guy's career, right? Like, he made a really, like, strong out the gate, and then he kind of was making the same movie to the point, and sort of like, you know in your mind that, like, hey, this guy's in a bad place, he's making not great stuff, and it's when his name comes up at the end of a trailer and an audience laughs that you know, like, it's turned a point.
Yeah.
And we're watching Harry Potter, and then this might be spoilers if you haven't seen Fantastic Beasts. Has anyone gonna care?
I haven't seen that.
I've seen.
I gotta say,
I don't care to get spoiled.
about Harry
Yeah.
Potter
Okay.
stuff. I mean, the books were great, but beyond that, it's like,
Right. So
Anyway.
so there's
my hot
a
take.
reveal that he's this villain, and you kind of, it's a reveal moment. So it's sort of like he turns to camera and it's Johnny Depp, and everyone in the audience either like kind of laughed or groaned. Like there was definitely like an "Are you kidding me" moment where it's like it's a guy he had wacky makeup on, and he had this like kind of crazy smile, and it was his character. It was not the character he was embodying. It was Johnny Depp's composite character in a Harry Potter movie, and that's when it kind of felt like, I would argue that maybe that's part of like the touch that Tim Burton is leaving on people who work with him, like Helena Bonham Carter kind of has the same character now. And when I see her in a lot of stuff, like even
Les
seeing her
Miserables.
Les Mis, or even when I saw her in Lone Ranger, even though it's not a Tim Burton picture, it's still the same. She's still the same
Theatrical,
character, and it's still the same tone, still the same like wackiness and weirdness. Which isn't to say, I mean, look, I don't want to get down on people for being like character actors who have a specific kind of role that they play, like a Peter Lorre or whatever. Like there's a place for that. But when you're coming out of a very weird movie and you are making choices that may not fit in a realistic movie, that shows like a questionable, and you have clout, so you can kind of get away with the choices you're making.
Yeah.
That I think shows that the only thing holding you back from what's happening on screen is your taste.
Yeah, and some of it too is the directors not reining them in,
Right.
'Cause I think
But
they
can
I
they?
think they
Like,
both
that's-
I think they can. I think both those actors have that potential, and there are roles where they are more grounded,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I would argue, even though he's wearing a lot of makeup and he's got a crazy accent in Black Mass, he's definitely, it's a different kind of Johnny Depp. It's a little more subdued,
Yeah.
But-
I mean, I would argue that Jack Nicholson's over the top, like composite version of Whitey Bulger in the remake movie was much stronger than
Yeah.
Departed.
Yeah.
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 It
No,
was a much stronger, like that
Yeah,
was not
but
a
I mean,
movie
but you're
about
allowed
Whitey Bulger.
to. But he was not carrying the film. He could be color, and
Yeah.
there's a difference.
Yeah. But I do think that, like, in that movie,
You don't have to relate to him.
But I do think he doesn't, even though he's based on a real character, there's something about the performance. He doesn't feel like a real person. He feels too much like a movie villain in a way. Like it's a little too over the top, maybe somehow. I can't quite put my finger on it.
So for us, we kind of grew up with him. Like he's always been a little bit older. Like again, like you said, 21 Jump Street. We were probably like, 12, 10, 12, 11 years old. Parker, for you, what was sort of your first foray into Johnny Depp?
I'm sure a lot of people like to foray into Johnny Depp. You know what I mean? I mean, Edward Scissorhands probably was the first Johnny Depp movie. And obviously that was before I was... When did that movie come out? Before I was born.
89 or 88. Yeah.
Really?
It was before Batman. Batman was...
Batman 89.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so old.
So I mean, like I said, when Pirates of the Caribbean sort of was first announced and there was the collective eye roll from even people in my demographic, like it was, or even then it was kind of like, what is Johnny Depp doing in this? Like he was he was just cool.
Yeah.
Because he was Edward Scissorhands, and like that's basically how everyone thought of him, especially if you were sort of like a, I wear like black T-shirts and have like rubber wristbands, teenager kind of guy like I was, where like he was like the coolest guy ever because he got with blonde Winona Ryder.
And
they dated.
Yeah.
Because that's also the heyday. It's like Edward Scissorhands, Fear and Loathing. He's
Yeah.
really strong in that. Like that's kind of his, and that's like Donnie Brasco. Like, he's he's cutting a fine figure at that point.
So just to set the record straight, Edward Scissorhands 1990, Benny June
1990,
Benny
wow.
and June and Gilbert Grape came out in 93. So
I was alive when it came. Well, what time in 1990?
What time?
I imagine around Christmas time because
Okay,
At 11:30 a.m. Parker.
I mean, like what month? Or what month? Yeah.
yeah, right around November, I imagine.
November 15th, 11:30 a.m. Were you born yet? Parker?
Yes.
But Crybaby came out that same year as well. Before
that was a good year. Yeah, and that was great because those were. I mean, they weren't polar opposites, but one was very broad audience, and one was very popular, and the other was still kind of obscure. Crybaby.
Crybaby. John Waters was in a pretty
he
strong
was-
place for a
he
cult
was-
director.
Yeah,
at
he
the
was
time.
coming out.
But
yeah.
still, like he went from like cult to indie, maybe.
Yeah.
He was still not like Edward Scissorhands was mainstream.
Yeah, it was on the edge. I think.
Yeah, but what was the one where the mom was
Serial Mom.
Serial Mom? That was a really wide release when that came out.
That's true. And that was
Hairspray
Kathleen
did pretty
Turner,
good.
too. Yeah, I think Hairspray
Hairspray is awesome.
might have been his most mainstream movie, and
With
it's,
John Travolta, Christopher Walken.
Oh, I didn't watch. I saw like pieces of
It
it.
is garbage.
I bet.
the one where Travolta was in a lady fat suit.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's playing Divine's character.
Anyway, I'd say like Willy Wonka was probably the last time that I went to a Tim Burton, Johnny Depp either movie experience, like having any sort of expectation of it maybe being good or like maybe being able to pull it off. And then I don't think I've seen one since then.
Yeah.
Or at least more than a few minutes of it, because it was just like it's always. That's partially taste, like or like Keith was saying, demographic. Like I just have Tim Burton's style in like Batman Returns is like amazing, but his style in this kind of like candy coated psychedelic, more like psychedelic, less like dark and surreal is just.
Yeah, and I feel like
shitty.
Mars Attacks was kind of his bridge movie, going from one style to the other, because that was very like poppy,
That's a fun
colorful.
movie.
It is fun, but
That's also sort of embodying the style of the time in
and
which
that's
it's.
and it's also like parodying B movies.
Yeah.
And parody in taking like direct color reference from
Exactly.
the cards and the Topps
Yeah,
cards that
yeah.
it was based
Yeah.
off.
Because Tim Burton was a collector. So,
Nyah, nyah.
nyak, nyak, nyak. The last sort of question I would put out is, craft a scenario where he comes back for you. What brings Johnny Depp
It could
back?
happen. I mean, this is like Mickey Rourke. Like any minute now, he could just make a good movie. He's just got to team up with a good director.
Oh,
and
but
take a chance.
Man, maybe that's it. Maybe he's got to sink a lot lower,
No.
like Mickey Rourke, and then he can make the comeback.
He did do. Wait, who was it that did the Charlie Chan Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Mickey Rooney.
Okay. I was going to say, because if Tonto was his, like, Charlie Chan moment,
Oh, it is.
that would have been his, like, his
His
rise.
name was Mr. Sato in that movie. I wish somebody would re-edit that movie and just get rid of every one of his scenes. That would make me feel so much better about liking that movie.
Oh, he did have that recent turn as Donald Trump in that
Yeah.
Funny or Die
Yeah.
hour-long movie.
The art of
was
the
it.
deal.
Which was too boring to sit through.
Yeah.
It was, but I mean, they made it so fast.
Yeah, but like,
It's like the joke is that they made it. I
yeah,
think.
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like,
Yeah,
it
it's
wasn't even like funny though.
no. It's
Well, I mean, it's
just,
kind of
There
like
was a lot
sad.
of funny
Weird.
stuff in it, but
It was just
but
sad and scary at the same time.
yeah. Now it's sad. Now it's just like
It's apocryphal.
oh man.
I mean, we'll be forced to watch it during Trump Day, Trump month every year, when we used to have elections. Our dear leader.
Well, yeah, that was one of the picks, that I was considering is what happened to this country. Single tier. Yeah, I don't know what he could do. I mean, I'm having a hard time
if only he
envisioning
was
it.
in like an awesome
I think he would have
like
to.
magician's movie.
That would be good. Oh, like Now You
Like
See Me 3.
Fantastic Ghosts.
Now You See Me 3. I
Like
totally
Fantastic
see him in that
Beasts.
movie. Doesn't seem-
He and Woody Harrelson.
I think if he did a role without makeup, without a crazy accent, just did a straight up role, and he did it well. I think that in a
would
good
put you-
movie,
would put you back
Ditto.
in.
it's a lot.
Just
It's a
kind
lot
of
of
basically
factors.
like show his chops
Yeah, and
as
just
an actor.
step away from the wacky train a little bit, and just and even for himself to kind of like reset a little.
I actually didn't ever see this whole movie, but I was kind of imagining like Johnny Depp in About Schmidt.
I like that movie, by the way.
Something like-
that could be too, and maybe it's also that right now he's kind of like he's in between, like he's not he's not looking super old yet, but he's getting there. Maybe once he
Kind of embraces it a little more.
once he really has to like switch his career because of his age, maybe.
A Marlon
Yeah.
Brando Godfather moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, you could parallel. I mean,
Yeah, because then
you can't parallel the two,
'cause
but
in a way,
but
then
their careers perhaps.
because in a way his own skin will become the makeup that he lives in. You know what I mean?
Well, when The Godfather came out, Brando was a liability. Nobody wanted
Right.
to. They didn't want to take a chance on him, and he was like really young to play that role. He was actually, I think, in his 50s, and he just completely transformed into that character, and that's something that.
Yeah, that's true. He has that potential as well. I mean, it could also be that, like, I think right now, he was riding high. It could be that if he starts having some misses, some serious misses, maybe that'll also.
I think he's in it.
What's the thing? The name?
Transcendence?
No. It's just a guy's name, and he's this like fey kind of.
Oh,
it's
Mordecai.
purple, yeah.
Oh, Mordecai.
I didn't see that.
Did anyone see that?
No. It just
Yeah, I
looked
saw. I think the
terrible.
last. I haven't seen the Alice in Wonders. The last movie I saw that was in that vein was like Dark Shadows. Which
I didn't mind Dark
and I saw it
Shadows.
in the.
How was
theater. It's mediocre. It was fun. I mean, it's like
That was also Tim Burton.
it was just kind of like a. I mean, it's a lampooning of that classic that
No,
classic
it's not.
soap
It's-
opera.
Well, it wasn't even a lampooning. It's kind of like a retelling, like a remake of that.
Yeah, but Dark Shadows wasn't a comedy, the original. So it's a little bit of like it's not like the hyper it's hard to explain like
No, I get what you're saying.
remaking Addams Family or remaking like Dukes of Hazzards. Those are comedies already. Dark Shadows, it's sort of like if someone made like General Hospital, but a wackier version.
Or if somebody made Saint Elsewhere, but it ended up being Dark Place by Garth Marenghi.
For me, I think maybe you're right. Like if he did a Coen Brothers movie, and him as an they kind of find interesting characters and find the character that is inside the people. I just wonder if he's again like a lot of their guys aren't method though. Like you know what I mean? It's a different sort of style.
Oh,
of
I
actor.
think they are. Like when they did that movie with Billy Bob Thornton, The Man Who Wasn't There. I mean, I'm sure he really lost himself in that because it's so subtle. That performance is wonderful. That's a great movie.
Right. But I mean, I guess maybe it's that Johnny Depp's the character he methods into is very emotive and big, and it would be interesting to see where they would find a place for that. That would be the challenge. That would be something I would actually be excited to watch it, even if it was it's a worthy experiment. I feel.
Yeah. And I feel too like I wanted to bring up DiCaprio because I feel like DiCaprio's had a similar
And they're
thing where-
peers in terms of like
they're peers and they're both like pretty boys who resist don't want to just be pretty boys and are always like, but I feel like DiCaprio made different kinds of choices and teamed up with different kinds of directors.
He always went more blockbuster. I mean, from the beginning, and he ended up in some really great movies, but like none of those. And nothing was ever like fringe or like
not trying to
cultish
be.
or surreal. Yeah.
Yeah, he was going. He was just going after.
Diaries would be.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
Didn't see that.
But that's
one.
pretty early. I mean, Gilbert Grape in Basketball Diaries. That's him like really getting in there. Celebrity.
But wasn't he like a little tyke for that stuff?
He was young-ish.
No, Basketball Diaries. He was he was an adult by then.
He was young.
He just
and
looked
great.
like he was 12.
Yeah.
How old was he with Titanic?
I bet he was like 23, something like that.
60. That was a long time ago, Titanic.
Yeah, it
Turn of the
depends.
century.
You mean like during our time or during the Titanic time? Because during the Titanic time, he was much younger.
Way younger.
And then after the Titanic, when they're telling the story, he's dead, but really old dead.
I get it.
Well, he's 42 now, so do the math.
So he's in his 20s.
Dude, way to put us on the spot. It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Okay, he was born in 74, and Titanic was in 97.
So he's like 43 now, right? You said.
So, Johnny Depp, come back to us, buddy. Come back to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he just needs to hit rock bottom, and then he'll make a comeback.
Dude, do you think
I don't think he will.
Transcendence was rock bottom? I feel like Transcendence
Maybe.
should have been rock
Maybe.
bottom.
He's not gonna though.
Oh shit! I forgot about that movie. Does anyone see movies he's in?
I haven't seen many.
Some people do.
Maybe it's like,
but not as many as they used to.
The editor's seen it a lot.
The editors.
so here's the thing. I mean, so the movie market, like this is sort of like global movie conspiracy, but
and he's a global star.
right.
Yeah.
So movies now aren't made for our consumption as much. They're made for global consumption, and Johnny Depp is, a globally consumptive, or he's a global asset. He's someone who
It's a commodity.
Yeah, you can go and sell a poster that has Johnny Depp's name on it in China, in Japan, in India.
Yeah.
He's known, and that makes his movies palatable. And so I think it's easy to make those calls.
And maybe
that's why it's harder.
I think too,
even
his,
if we don't watch
his
them.
over the top characterizations, I think probably also play well internationally because it's so much of it is physical, and it's less in the language and things like that. So it probably translates better.
Which is another interesting experiment. If we were watching Turkish Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, would it basically be Tim Burton's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Kind of exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
With subtitles.
Except in black and white. Another thing that bears mentioning is I just don't feel like
his band's any good.
The I don't feel like
he did start out wanting to be a musician, and then Nicolas Cage was like, "Hey man, you should try acting."
Really?
Yeah.
The Lemonheads were like, "What are you doing in our
They
video?"
were they ended up I think he somebody he was dating somehow knew Nicolas Cage. And
Okay,
they ended up being
did
roommates.
they both grow up in California? I mean, I know Nick Cage is from
No,
out
Johnny
there.
Depp ended up he moved to LA when he was trying to get his band as part of his band, and then but then he was just broke, and somehow he knew Nicolas Cage, and Nicolas Cage was like, "Hey, try acting."
So there you go, kids. If your music career doesn't work out, just fall back on acting.
Yeah, Parker.
But
I should have been an actor. Let's be honest.
When they make the Robbie Robertson biopic, I'm gonna Robbie Roberts biopic.
Yeah.
it should
Robertson.
be- Robertson. Yeah.
Robert
yeah.
Robertson. I have gotten that before.
But I do want to say though that the environment for films is different now than it was back then, and I think that the opportunities to be in a John Waters film, it's not the same. You can't just be in, there used to be several levels of movies, and I kind of feel like right now, if you're a Johnny Depp level of stardom, you're either in the Marvel / Disney blockbuster, trying to be a blockbuster, or the I'm trying to win an Oscar movie, and I don't feel like that there's much middle ground, as much middle ground as there
That's
used
true.
to be.
Yeah, well, that's
and that might be
But
one of the
I
things.
think the middle ground now is on TV. Is in
perhaps.
these awesome TV series.
I mean, you still have indie movies being made, but usually what happens is it's very indie, and the people who are in it may break out.
Yeah.
It's not so much that hey, there's a super indie director who's going to get a high, an interesting actor, because we just don't have that. Like you're saying, it's sort of also the fluidity and the options are gone. There's a little more crystallization and stratifying going on.
And it also it feels right now that Johnny Depp isn't trying to do that. It just feels like he's just kind of phoning it in or something. That he's just taking what people are offering him rather than really seeking out something different. But that's just my guess. I don't know.
Well, that's all we can do is speculate.
It's true.
But
true.
I wish him well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm sad that he's gone out of my sort of realm of taste, but he could easily come back. He has done movies that I thoroughly enjoyed.
I'm also sad he's beating people and abusing them verbally and stuff.
Maybe. Allegedly.
Well, we all beat people. We all abuse people verbally in certain context. I feel like.
We all beat people, right, guys?
Right, honey?
Come on, we're white men. I mean, come on.
I mean, we're punching down, whatever we do. We're coming from a position of privilege. All the more so now.
Dark times.
What happened in
Moving
this
on.
show?
Moving
What
on.
happened?
Moving on.
That
Yeah.
wraps
Any
it up.
any last
Yeah.
thoughts? Everyone's good.
No.
Go back to us,
No
Johnny
last
Depp.
thoughts. I'm great.
Come back. All right.
Maybe do more animated voices. That's fine.
That's cute.
That
Yeah.
works.
Where can you go see it, Jules?
Oh, there you go. That's good. Where can you go see what?
Let us know. What?
Edward Scissorhands.
Okay. So so right now, here's the last question for you, and and you're going to answer it, and then you're going to say where to watch these things. Okay. What movie should someone watch that is the quintessential Johnny Depp movie, in your opinion? And what is the most recent movie that they should watch before, that they should even bother watching? What are those? Give us those two picks.
Because they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, give us. Or no, all right. So here's the other twist then. What's the movie that they should definitely see, and what's the one they should completely avoid? It's what you consider the lowest point.
Oof. The thing is, I probably haven't seen the lowest points. I don't even know how bad they are.
From within your experience.
Man.
Isn't that sort of what you
I have
picked?
seen part of Transcendence, and that's just not a good movie.
I mean, it just looks.
Shia
terrible.
LaBeouf was weird in it too, and I understand getting that sexy girl in, but that's all she was just there to be the sexy girl. I can't even remember her name. Megan Fox.
She was in.
Wait,
that
are we talking about he's doing a joke about Transformers? I think that's another what happened. Megan Fox.
What do you mean what happened? Where did she start?
How?
Oh, I mean, I guess you guys were in high school, guys, when Transformers came out.
See, I would
That
say
rocked everyone's world.
What are you talking about? That movie's terrible.
it's hot garbage.
Hey guys, she's great in Ninja Turtles Part 2.
No,
okay?
I forgot you weren't born when the original Transformers came out.
I was a big fan of Beast Wars.
Well, see, yeah. No, well, let's not open that can of worms.
All right, so Jules, you've avoided the subject long enough.
I mean, the thing is, that was kind of my.
I was suggesting it was legendary because she was very hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not because it was a quality movie.
I see.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Because she could a poster inside the locker.
Are you saying she's not hot anymore?
I'm saying she was.
We don't know.
I don't
We
know.
haven't seen
know
her.
she looks like she's not.
Maybe
honestly.
what happened is
I don't wanna start
what happened is that you grew
judging
up.
women on microphone.
Maybe what happened is that you grew up.
Yeah.
And you don't find her as attractive as you did.
It's not me.
Maybe it has to do with hormones.
I think
It's
it
not
was
me.
the car, Parker. I think it was Bumblebee. It was getting you going. You wanted
revving your engine.
you wanted to feel what's under his
Do you know
hood.
about those guys and those people who fall in love with the Eiffel Tower and stuff?
Oh, yeah,
You ever
yeah.
seen that thing?
No.
Yeah. There's forbidden loves. There's a British show about it, and they also talk about incest and stuff. But yeah, there's a woman who married the Eiffel Tower, and
That's interesting.
they show her rubbing on it.
Oh man.
Anyway,
Yeah.
God bless everyone.
Is that something you want to announce?
God bless everyone.
About your waifu?
You mean my
Your pillow
my
wife?
anime pillow? Yeah.
He's more into obelisks.
I'll take one if you guys are done with yours.
Oh,
All right, Jules. So Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, so Edward Scissorhands and one I'd picked Lone Ranger, but I think for the Tim Burton continuum, I would go Edward Scissorhands, and then I would compare that to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oof.
So
I'd say, I mean, the Alice in Wonderland movies are way better than that, and they're not.
No, but he's
that
saying
I'm
for
saying
bad.
I'm saying for
For bad.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Edward
You can't.
Scissorhands.
Well, here's the deal. Hold on. I think that this movie's the Charlie and Chocolate Factory was poorly conceived from the start.
Yeah.
Why remake that masterpiece? But secondly,
They both decided to do it.
yeah. But
I'm just
secondly,
saying what happened to both of them.
Johnny Depp plays that character, as creepy as he is, really well. And it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to say that he did a bad job because
he never I agree that he's always working really hard and he doesn't phone it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I
But
just
again,
think
it's
his
sort of
choices are questionable.
Right.
so,
If you look at in 8 years when Donald Trump is shucking on the corner for his 5 cents a day, like he's got his coffee cup out and he's doing his little dance, we'll say he's doing it as hard as he can. But that doesn't mean that he's like still the meteoric star that he used to be.
I don't know what this analogy is.
Homeless Trump. That's my new meme. Hashtag homeless Trump. He's going to divest himself.
Yes, because everyone who's ever been president gets poorer during their time.
But you know what?
You know what, Keith? He's busted all the precedents.
But you know what? He'll still have a security detail while he's busking. So at least no one will hit him, you know.
That's right. You won't get stabbed like that lady I saw in down by the college. Homeless people.
Man.
All right, Jules, where can people watch Edward Scissorhands and what other movie? Are they streaming?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I don't think any of them are streaming at the moment. You can rent them on iTunes or Amazon or the usual places.
Cool. You can rent them on DVD from Netflix and have them mail you the DVD of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
You can buy it on Blu-ray.
Anyway, so that was Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
That was Johnny Depp.
Good pick, Jules. What happened to your pick?
I don't know. Could have been better.
Why are you talking to that horse? Why am I covered in dirt? I buried you. Why am I alive?
Eight men rode into canyon. I dug 7 graves. Horse says you are a spirit walker. A man who has been to the other side and returned. A man who cannot be killed in battle. Something very wrong with that horse.
Such a question, there are many possible answers, such as hard work.
Feel I'm alone in this whole of existence. I know it takes time, but I'm losing my persistence. The distance is too far to fetch, so I...
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to our What Happened episode. I was one of your hosts, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho. Keith, where can people find you?
People can see all of my portfolio and real stuff on earthlingkeith.com.
Ooh, .com, no more .tumblr.
No, it's still there. Tumblr's still there.
I know, but that's fancy.
Well, hopefully it'll be up and running by the time this airs.
Oh, I have faith.
Me too.
Mostly because you're not doing it.
Hey, I made my old website.
I know, but it took a long time.
And it hasn't
I wish
changed
someone else
in
was making
several
mine.
years.
You know what I'm saying? Anyways, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at BeautifulJules. How about you, Parker?
Yeah, Parker.
You can find me on Tinder, Bumble. I'm also trying Hinge out too.
What's Hinge out?
I find
if he
J-Date,
sounds
bro.
sultry.
J-Date.
You know, I could swing J-Date. I am half Jewish.
Do it.
You can only log in
Half the time. Half the time it doesn't work.
Oh, you just leave
Only at
halfway through the date? So here's what is Hinge out?
Oh, Hinge.
Oh, what is Hinge?
I'm trying Hinge out. That was the sentence. Okay. Oh, that's just another one of these stupid phone dating apps.
What's their
What's their angle?
What do they do?
You remove the pins from the door, and then you can break in a lot easier
I know,
for the woman's
I don't
apartment.
know. It's all kind of the same. It all hurts my head. It's just people do it. It's like, I don't know.
Same old, same old.
Same old, same old.
All right.
Where can people hear your musics? Or is there a project you've been liking that you recently worked on?
I mean, yeah, you can Google Slonk Donkerson. That'll get you pretty far.
L-O-N-K.
D-O-N-K-E-R-S-O-N.
Nice.
And buy the shirt.
Drops Mike.
So before we head out of here, Keith, what was new to you this week?
Well, I've been messing around with this app on my iPhone.
Hinge?
Yeah. I don't get it. It just doesn't seem to work.
Same old,
Parker's
same old.
barely on there. I've been So, for years I've been taking little videos on my iPhone, and they just nothing ever becomes of them. They just end up on my computer later, and I can look at them. But I've been messing around with a few little like down and dirty editing apps on my phone lately, and I found this one called Splice that the people that bring us what's the Go camera? The GoPro camera. They make the software so people can edit their little GoPro vids on it, and it's called Splice, and it's super easy to use, and it makes you be able to use your footage and make it look nice. I mean, the cameras already are high enough quality that if you hold the thing steady, it looks pretty good. But now you can cut it together and just put music on it, and suddenly everything looks cinematic and like you did it on purpose. So I'd look that up. It's called Splice. It's a really cool app. I think if it costs anything, it's only $2.99. I can't even remember.
Nice.
I kind of feel like it was free.
And it's been pretty stable.
Because I'm cheap. Yeah, big time. Well, I mean, it takes up a lot of. Because I just mentioned I'm cheap. I have the phone with like 16 gigs on it, and so I'm every time I start a new project, I kind of run into
So you have to
lack
wipe
of
it,
space.
get kind of dump everything off and then start again.
Yeah, but one of the cool things is it allows you to take music right out of your iPod,
cool.
your iTunes, your iTunes thing. Well, you actually have to it has to exist on your phone.
Interesting.
It has to be downloaded onto your phone to use it. But they also have a really good library of like their own duty-free music, and that helps out because when you try to post something on Facebook and you're using an REM song, they won't allow you to do it.
Huh.
So you just
I
use
love
their.
REM.
Me too.
Usually, and so
But it's not duty free.
because I put we put this website or whatever, we put the podcast up on YouTube. What I found is because we'll kind of under Creative Commons, which means you can do whatever
We're
you
technically
want.
allowed to put
We
up.
can do whatever we want.
Well, no, we're allowed to play a certain amount of
Right.
clip of whatever we are reviewing.
The basics on Creative Commons is that you are directly referencing or referring to and critiquing the work, and you are not replacing the work.
You're not using the work to try to make money. You're using it as a way to create a criticism of it.
Not even money, but like if you are significantly replacing the experience. So if we played the whole song, you wouldn't have to go buy the song or find it somewhere else because we've already recreated that experience by playing the whole song. So if
and that's stealing.
That's stealing. So the idea is that if you play a short enough piece and you're really doing it in an analytical setting, because we're super we get in deep. We're super good about all this.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Really artistic about it too.
But what happens, you put the stuff on YouTube and it will just either strip the audio, or it won't play in certain countries.
Yeah.
That's kind of thing. Or you can't monetize it is the other thing they say. So that's all I know.
Yeah, well, it's rough because I'm making my new film, my animation reel. I'm updating it, and music is tough because you kind of want to use a song, and it's not like I'm making any money off of playing the 1 minute of this song that I'll be using for my demo reel, but I can't put it up anywhere.
If only you knew people who worked at a music company that licensed music, that maybe would be willing to help you out.
Does Vimeo have less restrictions on that though?
Vimeo, I think, does.
Because again, I'm not to get a skirt around using it, but especially if it's for small level self promotion, it seems like less of a deal. Like if you're
I know. I mean, certainly, and I'm certain that it's not illegal to use that use somebody's song on a demo reel if you're not playing the thing in its entirety. But I do believe that the bots, the software that runs on these things, they don't know the difference. They're just like that's copywritten, gone.
And so, are you when you're cutting your reel, you're cutting it in Splice, or are you doing it in?
No. I'm cutting
Premiere?
that
Because that's how.
Yeah, I don't
that's the
know.
other question is how precise, or is this pretty
It just takes your home movies to the next level.
There's a lot of editing you can do.
But is it kind of like iMovie?
Yeah,
without a mouse though, your finger?
But better than remember when iMovie was on the computer? It's better than that, and it's on your phone. It's pretty good.
Interesting. All right. So people can get that on iTunes. Is it on Android or anything?
I'm not certain. I got it from the App Store for Apple, so that's all I know.
Cool.
But I imagine if it's GoPro, you can get it for any device.
Cool.
It might even have a computer version as well.
All right. Keith, good lead on that.
Well, thank you.
Check that out. So you can find out more about the people, us hosts, and the stuff we talked about on the website, newtoyoushow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at newtoyoushow. We are kind of on Facebook, sort of. There's like a Facebook page that's kind of closed, but I haven't looked at it in a while.
So glad you mentioned that every week.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I know.
Hey guys, check kind of us out on Facebook.
You
maybe
can go find us there and see if we'll let you even look at the site. We are on YouTube, so you can check it out there. Go to iTunes, leave a review, rate us highly if you like us, or don't rate at all if you don't like us. How's that sound? Is that
If
nice?
you don't like us, leave a comment on YouTube. That's more
let us
appropriate.
know.
Yeah.
It's more, especially if like it's a.
Because everyone reads the comments on YouTube, and we totally read all the comments on YouTube. On iTunes,
I say if you have a comment, put it wherever you think we'll read it, because that's fine, even if it's bad.
if it's a bad one, put it where the sun.
Why
don't
not?
shine.
I mean, come on, we get so few comments. Like, what are we going to be upset because some knucklehead's
I
going to
clean them out. I clean out all the.
Oh, there we go.
No, you can't do that. So anyhow, review on iTunes. Subscribe through iTunes or your favorite listening portal app. I prefer Overcast on the iOS.
Second that.
And this subscribing will get you instant access to every episode when it drops each week. Parker, again, thank you for joining us. We'll have you back
Welcome.
next week for the continuation of What Happened?
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
Hey, what happened?
Hey, what happened? Parker, what happened?
Anyway, I hope it was new.
Hey,
Maybe it wasn't new.
before we go, though, next week, who's up on plate?
Oh. Who's gonna? I think it's gonna be
Not
John
it.
Holt.
All right,
it.
so I'll be up on plate next week. I'm going to talk about Richard Kelly, the director, who, go check out, to prepare for this, I would watch Donnie Darko, and if you are feeling adventurous and want an okay movie, we'll talk more about that. Watch The Box. He's got another movie in between that's okay too. The Rock is really good in it, called, Jules, what's it called again?
Southland Tales.
Southland Tales.
That's if you want something out there. You should
Yeah,
watch
I
that.
would say Donnie Darko is
Donnie Darko's not out there.
It's appropriately out there. Like, it's
Yeah.
the right kind of out there. Southland Tales is out there and maybe not as elegant. We'll get more into it when we get into the topic. But in preparation, I at least watch Donnie Darko, and then we'll let you know and you can decide if it's worth watching the other ones after that. But gang, it may not be new, but maybe it was new to you.
From all the troubles and the clutter of the world, got no need for nothing, so I'm out of here. Leave me alone to myself till I figure it out. Then I'll try to explain what it's about. For now, give me time to think, cause I'm sinking in the quicksand. Been peddling too long, and I'm not a human kickstand. Need time to rest, but I gotta keep moving. This pitiful life is all about the music. 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 This pitiful life is all about the music.